And let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. They it's a busy football week, obviously, with Thanksgiving weekend. They played on Sunday. They had the San Francisco 49ers down there in Santa Clara. There, I'm a hipster. I said Santa Clara instead of San Francisco. Ooh, I'm so cool. Seahawks kind of rolled to a pretty easy victory. The final score was 24-13. Again, that final touchdown for the 49ers came
very last play.
Pretty much garbage time. And a pretty relatively easy win for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we expected going into this game against the 49ers. It didn't look good from the first play. First offensive play for the Hawks. Russell threw a pick, but that was the only turnover of the game for us. I guess it is what you expected here in this game. Hawks pulled away 24-7, and really, like you said, that last touchdown was in garbage time. Russell Wilson, again, escaped many pressures from that defensive line. I do think that having Jokel back is going to help us down the stretch run here, and I'm hoping for a good run in these last however many games. Let's see, 11. So how many more games is that? 5?
5 more.
Yeah, so 5 more weeks. I don't think the Rams are going to hold up, so it'll be interesting to see going forward.
I don't know about that. Seth, do you have thoughts from Sunday's Seahawks game?
Well, the defense did look good. I mean, they held the Niners to 6 points until the very last minute of the game. I mean, yes, it's the 49ers, so take it with a grain of salt. But any time that you're holding your opponent to single digits, that's an impressive showing. Offensively, they were a little slow out of the gate, as DJ alluded to with that interception very first play. Second drive, they missed a field goal. Thanks, Blair Walsh. Next possession, they punted. So first quarter, no points. I'd like to see that change, but they got it going second quarter, so can't complain too much.
DJ, you mentioned that Russell Wilson kind of uses his escapability.
He got sacked hard. None at all. There was no sacks.
No sacks. He finished the game. He completed 20 of 34 pass attempts for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, and like you mentioned, that interception on the very first play of the game. The question I want to pitch to you guys is when you watch the Seahawks play, and the narrative is that offensive line isn't the best in the league by any stretch of the imagination. Do you think that Russell Wilson almost scrambles his way into trouble at times?
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. When you're an offensive lineman, especially out on the edge with like tackles and stuff, you're trying to hold that pocket, and sometimes when Russell escapes, they can't see when he escapes, and then they kind of get forced into holding calls and things like that because they don't know that he's escaped, and the DN tries to go out outside, and the tackle just ends up holding him. So I definitely think that that's the case with Russell sometimes. I do think that because of how bad the reputation of the Seahawks offensive line is, I think Russell Wilson is a little quick to scramble sometimes. I believe he could stay there in the pocket, but that's just part of Russell's game from starting from college and up into the pros. He likes to get out, and he's pretty good outside the pocket. He can create plays.
Seth, what do you think? Does Russell Wilson scramble himself into trouble, or is all that movement necessary
at times,
for him?
Yeah, I don't think the offensive line the last few weeks has been as bad as most people think the Seattle O-line is.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, they're a lot better with Jokel, Dwayne Brown on that line now. But yeah, every now and again I think Wilson tends to leave the pocket, and as DJ said, the rest of his blockers, they don't see that. They don't know what Russell Wilson's doing. They don't know where he's going to be. And a lot of times he's back and forth, and he's up the field, he's down the field. And that's really difficult for a blocker to not hold or not make some kind of penalty or let somebody by you when you don't even know which way you should be blocking your defender.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think this offensive line, I've been saying it now for a few weeks, this offensive line has been getting better. And now I think this is the best starting 5 that we have with Effetti on the right, at the right tackle, Posick, right guard, Britt at center, Jokel left guard, and Dwayne Brown at left tackle. I think that's the best combination of guys that we have. And just the more they play together, the more they're going to gel and become better. I think many times the Hawks struggles get blamed on the offensive line because that is just an easy kind of scapegoat when the offense is struggling because everything starts with them. People don't ever put the blame on like the running backs or the wide receivers just need to be better, for example. They just kind of point it right to the offensive line.
Yeah, they haven't been the story to me at all this year, the offensive line. I don't think there's been a week. I mean, we do a show once a week, so we hit the most important topics we feel coming into each show.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a show this year where we've come in and just been like, yeah, that offensive line is trash.
Yeah.
And we've never done it. So to me, that's a positive step forward for that position group moving forward just because they haven't been a topic of discussion. And that's a good thing for that group
and
after some years that they've had.
And if you look at like the past years, like you said, Christian, like they've been rotating guys in and out, and they haven't developed any continuity. When you're trying to get 5 guys to play together, that takes time, and just you got to have patience. And in today's world of social media, and everybody wants things now, they just want success overnight, and that's just not the way to develop a football team and an offensive line more specifically.
Yeah, it's totally fair. Let's jump across to the defensive side of the ball. Bobby Wagner was a stud all day long. Commentators couldn't stop talking about how good Bobby Wagner was. He had 8 tackles, 7 tackles all by himself, and 2 tackles for loss. Seth, what did you think of the defense overall?
Overall, they were very good. The Niners' offense couldn't really run the ball, and of course, when you have C.J. Beathard at QB, you're probably going to be a little run heavy. So anytime that you're making them have to be in a passing situation with a below average quarterback, you're setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the Hawks, like I said in my kind of like game summary, the Hawks did what they needed to do here, on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. One thing I want to, kind of point at is, where has Michael Bennett been all year? We haven't really, he hasn't really been in the backfield a lot. He did get a sack in this game, but the announcers really haven't been calling his name much. And maybe he has, I know at the beginning of the season he was big on the anthem protests and stuff like that. So maybe his head just hasn't been in the right place this season, or he just could be on the decline.
Michael Bennett on Sunday, 4 tackles, 3 solo tackles, a sack, and 1.5 tackles for loss.
Yeah, so this...
I think it's... I also think he's dealing with an injury right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he has plantar fasciitis.
Yes.
So for humans the size of NFL players are to be dealing with a foot problem, has to be one of the most annoying injuries that a person that size could have to deal with. I think he's played well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's had a great year, but I think he's played well for what he does.
Yeah, but even at the beginning of the year, like, we didn't really see his presence wasn't really felt, I feel like, before that injury. And like you said, he does have an injury. Everybody's going to have, like, as we get to these later parts or these latter parts of the season, almost every NFL player has some nick or ding that they're playing through. It's just not possible to go that long in football without without an injury. So
I mean, I'm not trying to make an excuse for him.
No,
that injury, come on, that has to suck.
Yeah. I think another part of it has to be the loss of depth. I mean, Avril's been out for this entire season, so Frank Clark is starting opposite side, so he doesn't get to sub out quite as often either, so he's probably not as fresh come fourth quarter.
That's true, and their depth has been a problem along with injuries that have, bit the Seahawks in the butt.